It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, you have found me at the end of a week. Today is a Friday, and thank goodness we made it to Friday, y'all. Let's listen to some Rush, shall we? This will be our next excursion into the discography from this wonderful all-time great trio, and I'm really pumped to get to Grace Under Pressure, side one today. We have previously heard a lot from this band. I started off with Hemispheres, my second ever extended play lounge over on Patreon, and that got us going, y'all. We then went to a Farewell to Kings. We went to Moving Pictures, and then Permanent Waves, most recently with Signals. And guess what comes after Signals? Grace Under Pressure, and that's where we are today. So this album, Grace Under Pressure, is their 10th album, released in April of 1984. And with Signals, as we remember, we heard more synthesizers coming from this band than we are accustomed. And as I read in today, we can expect more of that sound on this album. The band, with Grace Under Pressure, had moved on from working with their longtime producer Terry Brown, this time asking Peter Henderson as their producer. They weren't necessarily dissatisfied with Terry Brown. They were just looking for some new approaches and some techniques that could help them further develop their sound, and that's what I'm really curious to hear. With side one, we're going to hear 4 songs today: Distant Early Warning, After Image, Red Sector A, and The Enemy Within. There is only one of these songs that I have previously heard, and that was The Enemy Within back in episode 540. As we heard the 3 songs in the band's so-called Fear trilogy. The Enemy Within is part 1 of this trilogy, but as we remember, the band introduced the songs in the trilogy in backwards order, right? Witch Hunt, which is part 3, was in Moving Pictures, and then The Weapon as part 2 is from Signals, and then later on the band would add a 4th song to this trilogy with Freeze from their album Vapor Trails, and that is another one that I have yet to hear. So even though we've got a lot in our past from hearing this band, we've still got a lot more to get to. I was chatting with a buddy of mine over the holidays, and he's a big Rush fan. He took his kids to one of the Rush later tour concerts, and we were just talking about how great they were in concert. I never got a chance to see these guys live, and so I'm living vicariously through all of you and through my buddy, hearing stories about how just great they were live. And I have really enjoyed their live recordings as well as their studio recordings. So let's get into this, y'all. We've got Geddy Lee on bass, on synths, on vocals. He is also one of our main songwriters. Alex Lifeson is on guitars and synths, and he also co-wrote these songs with Geddy. Neil Peart is on the drums and percussion, and of course, the professor provides our lyrics that are so, I think, fundamental to the overall ethos of this band. The sounds and the lyrics and just the way that these 3 guys make a sound that's bigger than the sum of their parts continues to astound me. So I'm ready. Y'all, let's get into it. Side 1 starts with Distant Early Warning. With this, Neil is taking us inside the Cold War, which was quite heavily going on in the 80s. And the title here refers to an early warning system that was used to detect enemy bombers. It was a series of radar stations in the Arctic that detected, activity coming up and over the North Pole and near the North Pole. So let's take a look and see what they've got here. Distant early warning starts us off, and it's from Rush. Here we go. Kind of an open feel. Love Getty Space. There's those synths.
A Helvering comes rising across the cities of the plain. There's no swimming in the heavy water, no singing in the acid rain. Red alert, red alert.
Red alert, y'all.
It's so hard to stay together, passing through revolving doors. We need someone to talk to and someone to sweep the floors. Incomplete, incomplete.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right?
The world weighs on my shoulders, but what am I to do?
Now back into 4.
You sometimes drive me crazy, but I worry about you. I know it makes no difference to what you're going through, but I see the tip of the iceberg, and I worry about you.
Back to home base. I think they're in A minor.
Watching from satellites.
Cruising under your radar, watching from the satellites, take a page from the Red Book. So we're right in the Cold War here.
Left and right's a passage, black and white's a youth. Who can face the knowledge that the truth is not the truth? Obsolete.
Who can face the knowledge that the truth is not the truth? I love that little section.
The world weighs on my shoulders, but what am I to do? You sometimes drive me crazy.
And for the chorus, they're in a different key, aren't they?
I know it makes
That's
no
a D,
difference
C,
to what you're going
D.
through, but I see the tip of the iceberg, and I worry about you.
So they stay in D for a little solo section. Even though we've got synths, y'all, I like that Alex gets to take a really nice turn here with the guitar-led solo.
The world weighs on my shoulders, but what am I to do? You sometimes drive me crazy, but I worry about you. I know it makes no difference to what you're going through, but I see the tip of the iceberg.
But I see the tip of the iceberg and I worry about you. So even though we're talking about the Cold War, we're making it personal, too. Absalom, Absalom, Absalom. That's a word I haven't heard in a long time. That's a biblical word. Yeah. it's interesting. As the song started, I wasn't completely overwhelmed by it. I thought, that's a solid tune. The more it got going, the more I really got into it, especially with those little sections with the asymmetrical meter. That was really cool. I need to look up, before I move on, y'all, Absalom. I think that was King David's son, if I remember my Old Testament. Absalom, according to the Hebrew Bible, was an Israelite prince born to David. Yep, there we go. Okay, so in that, as I remember, Absalom was the son that David lost and very much wept over, right? So Absalom is a cry of grief from what I remember, and they end the song with that. That's really interesting. Really cool. Let's keep going, shall we? The next song is called Afterimage, and this is a song that is written about a gentleman named Robbie Whelan, who was a tape operator at La Studio, where these guys earlier in their career recorded some of their music. Unfortunately, it sounds like, they had become friends with Robbie, and during the process of making this album, he was killed in an auto accident. And so the album is in part dedicated to Robbie's memory. I thought that was really cool. So let's listen to what they say here with Afterimage. Off we go. Okay. Starts with that same A minor chord that we heard in the first song. That's a flat 6, 1, minor 5. That's a 7. That's a 6, the F chord. A minor. So 1, 5, 7, 6. That's an interesting little progression.
From all the lives you left your mark upon.
All of a sudden we're into
I remember
like a
how we
reggae
talked
groove.
and drank into the misty dawn. I hear the voices. We ran by the water on the wet summer lawn.
We ran by the water on the wet summer lawn. I see the footprints I remember.
I feel the way you would.
So into a straighter 4 here.
I feel the way you would. I feel the way you would. Try to believe
Right back
that
to
you know it's no good.
A minor.
This is something that just can't be understood.
And then they go into this. They start the verse in a straight 4, and then in the middle of the verse they change the feel to a reggae feel.
I hear the echoes. I lend your love for life. I feel the way that you would. I feel your presence. I remember. I feel the way you would.
And then back into a driving straight 4 for the chorus. And that's a B flat to a G minor to a D.
I feel the way you would. This just can't be understood.
I think that's 2 songs in a row where the verse is in A and the chorus is in D. Interesting. That's a saxophone in there. again, we've got more synths than I'm used to with Rush, but I really like hearing Alex's guitar along with it. It's like having a fourth player. Right? Okay, so it's just one down to flat 7 for this section. Back into the A minor section.
I tried to believe, but you know it's no good. This is something
Nice rhythm
just
part
can't
from
be
Alex.
understood.
And again, a reggae's feel that comes in the middle of a verse.
I feel the way you would.
And they've been in A minor, and as soon as they go to B flat,
Feel the way you would.
it's the flat 6 from D. So that's what gets the key changed.
I feel the way you would.
Great vocals, Gabby.
This just can't be understood. No.
I like that quite a bit. All right. Yeah, a tribute to their friends. Suddenly you were gone from all the lives you left your mark upon. I remember how we talked and drank into the misty dawn. I hear the voices. We ran by the water on the wet summer lawn. I see the footprints. I remember. I feel the way you would. I feel the way you would. I love the way Neil expresses himself lyrically. You know, what do you say when you grieve for someone who's no longer there? You know, you empathize with how they might feel. What a lovely, simple thing. I feel the way you would, right? It's natural to feel this way. Lovely, lovely. I'm enjoying this so far, y'all. Up next is a song called Red Sector A. And here, Neil is going to take us back, this time to the World War II era, not the Cold War era, World War II. And he tells a narrative from the perspective of a person who is being held in a Holocaust imprisonment camp. And as I read, these are stories that Getty's parents had told him about their own experiences in Nazi concentration camps. And these stories help inform this song. I read that Getty's mom had been held at the Bergen-Belsen camp, which is the same camp where Anne Frank was held and died. And so this brings me kind of, you know, emotionally into this story, kind of saying, oh, okay, we're talking about the Holocaust, we're talking about Nazis. The intro and the lyrics, all that we can do is just survive. All that we can do is help ourselves and stay alive. Yeah, I am very curious to hear what this sounds like. I don't think I've ever heard it, and I'm eager to do so. So let's do it. Here is Red Sector A from Rush. Here we go. And they're going back to D. This side harmonically is quite cohesive. This is an outline of a minor chord.
All that we can do is just survive. All that we can do to help ourselves is stay alive. All that we can do is just survive. All that we can do to help ourselves is stay alive.
skeletons, they shuffle away.
Shouting gods and smoking guns will cut down the unlucky ones.
Damn.
I clutch the wire fence.
Listen to the arrangement, though. We got synths in there. Fills out the sound, Getty's bass. I really like Alex's guitar playing here.
Hoping that tomorrow we'll all be free. Sickness to insanity.
Okay.
Prayer to profanity. Days and weeks and months go by.
Don't feel the hunger too weak to cry. Makes me angry. So they were in A and they go back to D. These are the two keys that they've really been in for most of this side. Last ones left alive. That's a major 4 now. Here that is 7. Yeah. 6. Father and my brother, it's too late, but I must help my mother stand. Damn, y'all.
Are we the last ones left alive? Are we the only human beings to survive? Are we the last ones left alive? Are we the only human beings to survive?
Great questions. Understandable questions. And it lands back on D. Boy, that's a powerful song, y'all. Right on the money. I mean, again, what I hear Neil doing is putting himself in that situation. How do you seek understanding about something you can't understand? You hear stories. You read first-person accounts. You take a look at news clips and any footage that might be available, right? But how do you get into history? You have to imagine what it was like. You have to empathize, right? You have to put yourself in that position. This last chorus, I hear the sound of gunfire at the prison gate. Are the liberators here? Do I hope or do I fear? Is this the end or am I being saved? I mean, think about that. And then they say, for my father and my brother, it's too late, but I must help my mother stand up straight. Are we the last ones left alive? Are we the only human beings to survive? it's an awful stain on the history of humanity, and it will be that way for as long as humanity exists, as far as I'm concerned, what the Nazis did in the Second World War. Awful. Just awful. I've been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. a few times, and each time I am thankful for being there. I'm thankful for all of the testimony that these people give to generations that have come past. But boy, it's hard. It's just an emotionally difficult experience to really, see yourself in the humanity of the people that were imprisoned, who were innocent, right? Getty has said that he once asked his mother for her thoughts about being liberated, and she said that she didn't believe liberation was even possible. She didn't believe that if there was a society outside the camp, how could they allow this to exist? I'm with you. I'm with you, Getty's mom. If there is a society outside of this camp, what are they doing? How do we allow this to go on? Right? It's part of why I've been so, frankly, depressed lately and just emotionally affected, because I see some similar atrocious things happening in the world, and I feel helpless to stop anything. But I guess we continue to speak up and make our voices heard and make it as hard as possible for people who are intent on wielding their own power for their own gain at the expense and suffering of other people. Yeah, we know too much. The world is too interconnected to ever let something like that really happen again. And as some things like that happen, it's difficult to work through, at least for me personally. So it's a trying time right now, at least for me. And if you're a person that has similar feelings, I am with you. Yeah, and I know that y'all are with me. So with that being said, let's move on to the last song on this first side. It's The Enemy Within, part 1 of the Fear trilogy. And after this last song, I'm really looking forward to hearing this one in this context. I have heard this one before. It was part of my episode in March of 2023, so it's been more than 2 years where I heard the entire Fear trilogy, except for the fourth song. And yeah, it's been a long time since I've heard it. And I remember in that video, I heard the live version of this song from their Grace Under Pressure tour. So this is going to be, I think, my first time hearing the studio version of this particular track. So let's get to it, friends. I'm eager to complete this listen and see what this studio version sounds like. Here is The Enemy Within from Rush. Here we go. Well, they got into sharps. B minor. And more reggae, or like ska sounds.
Things call in the darkness that imagination spins. Needles at your nerve ends crawl like spiders on your skin. Pow, 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 pounding in your temples and the surge of adrenaline. Every monster
endless tense to face the enemy within. So this is flat 6, flat 7, 1 in B minor. The main groove, still in B minor. Not giving in to security under pressure. I'm not missing out on the promise of adventure. I'm not giving up on implausible dreams. Experience to extremes. Love those words. To get up, it takes a little more persistence to get up and go the distance. Really impressed how the synths are integrated into the band's traditional sound here. A little more than I was on Signals. Because I feel like Alex's guitar is a little more present here than it was. I like it. And if you would have played this for me without any of the vocals or anything, I might have thought that the Police did that. You know, that reggae feel is in you know, the popular music and rock music of the time, having that reggae or ska feel. I've heard that from a number of different bands from that era. Now, what a great song. Too. A great side as well, after we get a little bit of, you know, in the first song, let me go back here. Let's see. In Distant Early Warning, we're in the Cold War and trying to get through that. With Afterimage, we're dealing with the grief of losing someone. So we're focused on our mortality and humanity and friends and all of that. And then we get to Red Sector A and we're going all in on the Holocaust and World War II and everything. And then we follow that up with The Enemy Within. And Neil goes inward here. To you, is it movement or is it action? Is it contact or just reaction? And you, revolution or just resistance? Is it living or just existence? Yeah, you, it takes a little more persistence to get up and go the distance. It's about rising above our own fears and anxieties that we get from learning about the world and experiencing it. And to not give in to security under pressure. Don't miss out on adventure and soaking up what this life has to offer. Don't give up on your implausible dreams. Experience to extremes. Don't be afraid. Do it. You know? Rise above. He's telling us, yeah, we all feel this. We all feel this way. But it's something that we have to rise above if we're going to get the most out of what we actually want in this existence. And it's a good reminder to me. I was talking about after the last song feeling a little helpless when things happen in the world that seem to be beyond what I would want or beyond my control, and sometimes difficult to understand and difficult to accept what's going on. There are times to engage and to speak truth to power and to stand up in the face of just suffering for no good reason, you know, and power run amok and all of that. But there are other times where we have to focus inward and make sure that we're living a life that instills us with hope and instills us with a feeling of adventure, a feeling of reaching for your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, all that. That's what I get from this time. And it comes from hearing it in context with the other songs, which is why I really enjoy listening to these songs within the context of a full album. Listen, in this case, a half album. Listen, twice a month over on our Patreon, y'all, we do full album listens nonstop. I'm just like this, where I would say, okay, let's turn the album over and go to side 2. And I'd hear all of side 2. We've done over 80 of those episodes now, and they're some of my favorite things to do. We've released some of them here to YouTube, but most of them are only available over on our Patreon. And I love the experience, especially when there's a through message or a narration or a broader story being told as a concept album. But albums like this, I feel that this is connected harmonically with how they were playing in A minor and D throughout, and then they move it to B minor there in the last song on this side. It's connected harmonically, it's connected musically, and I think the subject matter of all of these songs just work together, and it's really a wonderful thing. So the band just continues to evolve, don't they? Yeah, there's synths on here, but as I was talking about, I heard really great guitar playing from Alex so far on this record, and it sounds like there's a little more prominence with the guitar than there was on Signals. And especially with their new producer, we get these reggae and these ska elements in their sound as well. They sound like Rush, but they sound like 80s Rush and not late 70s Rush. It's really pretty cool. And the fans went with them. The band continued to have commercial success with Grace Under Pressure. It reached the top 10 in Canada and in the UK and in the US, and it has been certified platinum. So it's another one of these great tentpole records for Rush. And I'm eager to get to side 2. Next week, I'll return to this album and we'll hear the songs on side 2 and complete the album. We'll hear The Body Electric, Kid Gloves, Red Lenses, and Between the Wheels. And all of those songs, I think, are songs that I have not yet heard. So I'm really excited to get to that next week. But I believe that is going to be all for me today and this week, y'all. I very much appreciate you being with me and hanging out and spending some time here with us at the Daily Doug. I love looking at all this music, and it's just an added bonus to have all of y'all along for the ride. So that is all for me this week. I thank you very much for being with me. We'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Doug. Welcome to the Daily Doug. The Daily